Thank you for joining me on episode 3 of the Overwatch Coach. Today we have a 25-15 rated Zarya on King's Row. So without any further ado, I want to get right into this one. Just a quick couple things before we do. So with a 25-15 Zarya, there's one of two things that I'm going to be expecting here that's keeping you at a low platinum SR. And actually, it looks like you're one of the higher ones in this game, too, considering both teams are low 2400. So this is basically a gold game. Although most people in here are platinum, so that's interesting. We even got a diamond. Alright, so I'm expecting one of two things. Either gravitons without communication, or maybe you're not grabbing at good times where you're not getting follow-up. Maybe you're only getting one or two people in a graviton, which in certain situations isn't the worst thing in the world. It just depends on who you get. So we'll have to see on that one. The other thing that I would be anticipating is poor bubbling. Maybe bubbling too soon before you're actually being shot at and you're not really getting a good charge. I haven't watched this video yet, so we're going to be watching it live, commenting as I'm watching, and let's just see what we get here. And right before we get into that, if anybody wants to submit a video to me, all the requirements of what I'm looking for in a video are up on the screen, so just take a few moments to read through that, and let's get started.
Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
So you're starting on Winston, that's interesting.
Hello.
So I like that they have the Far Mercy combo going in the TheOWCoach. It's probably something that they've practiced already, which is a good thing. Maybe expect a little bit of carrying coming from them.
Imagination is the essence of discovery.
I'm not sure why we have an Orisa here. So out of this comp, this is a good duo, and the fact that they're teamed up tells me again that this is probably a practice thing that they've done. That's good. You probably can expect some good things from them. Having the double anchor tank plus the Winston, I'm guessing this is why you're going to switch, is because of these two. Yeah, right now, other than the TheOWCoach, I don't really like this comp because you got solo healing Mercy, who's probably going to be with the Pharah. You have a lot of tanks. So let's see what you guys switch to. I'm hoping you guys start switching. Okay, so the Reinhardt switched to Roadhog. I like having the Roadhog, but not at the sacrifice of the Reinhardt. Okay, so now you went Zarya. The Orisa, I would like to see the Orisa being a Reinhardt here. I don't really like Orisa on attack for these kind of maps. I see her more as a defensive tank. She'd have to be really, really, really aggressive with the shield placements for it to work. Okay, so now we have a McCree. Okay, so let's analyze this. So again, the Far Mercy's good. We'll give that a plus. Lucio's gonna basically be in charge of these three for the most part, which is not ideal, but it's not bad either, because the speed boost through the choke can be a good thing if it's communicated. The fact that he's gold tells me it probably won't be communicated, or not communicated very much. We'll have to see. The McCree for hit scan, having a hit scan is a good thing. I'd probably prefer it being a soldier, but it's okay. Again, with the Orisa, I don't love it because it's attack. If this were defense, I'd like it more. For this to work, she'll have to be really aggressive with the shield placement. And then the thing with the Zarya that I don't like is you don't have any obvious bubbling targets here, because the Orisa is probably going to hang behind the shield, probably not taking much damage. Pharah, if they got good hit scan, she'll be taking damage, so maybe you can get some charge off of her, or if you've got an aggressive Lucio or McCree, but I don't know. I'm not really sure where the bubbling targets are going to really, truly come from here, unless this is just ends up being a really aggressive team. So we're going to skip to the start. Okay, so they're running a Junkrat, which is a good thing for you. You should be able to charge your bubble off of him pretty easily. Okay, you bubbled a little bit early on that choke, but they kind of bailed you out and still shot at you anyway, which is a good thing. You know, in this kind of a rank, you can get away with that. Reinhardt's shield got melted, which is also a good thing. You're doing a good job on your charge. That was a good bubble on the Lucio. See, this team is really feeding your ult, not only your ult, but just your Zarya charge in a hole, and you're doing a good job knowing when to right click and left click so far. Okay, so here's a good example. So over here, you've got a couple squishy DPSs, and right here, all of this big blob, you should just be left clicking, and that's what you're doing. Now, once you finish him, which I think you will, because he just took out your McCree, so you're kind of the lone DPS right now. Farrah's probably lurking around somewhere too. But once you finish off him, which I think you're going to do based off of your charge, yeah, okay. So 85%. That's a really high charge. Let me get rid of all this. So we've got a lot of squishies over here. So left clicking on the Roadhog was the right thing to do. You should be right clicking over here once you kind of reposition yourself to do that. So for the sake of example, I'm just going to draw a couple people here. And let's say there's somebody over behind that phone booth. Right clicking over into here or over into there. Nice splash damage on a bunch of squishies, especially when your charge is so high. That'll do a lot of damage, and then just let the rest of your team mop it up. Just bring them all to low health. The other team can mop them up. Now, I thought that there were other ones over there, but maybe I was... Okay, there's one of them. Okay, there was two over there. The Lucio and the Junkrat, I think, just went into the building and came around the other end, which is... That's okay. So you're left clicking on the tank. You got him killed. That's good. You got a punching on the Mercy. That's good. Mercy was just trying to buy every last second that she could. Alright. So right now, you're doing great. You're carrying right now. Look at all those golds. And you got silver damage. That's great right there. So, alright, let's look at alts here. So you got Mercy's res, so that means you can play aggressive. You also have Farrah's alt, which guess what? It combos with your alt. So, what I'd be doing right now is Farrah, get in position. I'm going to be looking for an alt once we get around the corner. The corner being, so there's a choke right here. You get through that, and then you turn around. You make that left-hand turn. That's usually where the defense is going to try to hold you at. I'd be looking to alt somewhere around there and having the Farrah combo with yours and just rain justice from above and kill all of them. Let's see if that's what happens, though. Because right now you've got good charge. You should be over there building your charge. And right... Okay. So here's a mistake. It's kind of on you, and you're also kind of fixing a mistake at the same time. Zarya in this situation should never be solo pushing. You're the only one pushing the cart. Your whole team's right here in the choke spamming through it. That's not good because one, your Zarya charge is dropping at a steady decline. You should be telling Lucio probably. You should be probably the one to be solo pushing it, getting it to the first choke point. You should be with the rest of your team bubbling and bubbling yourself and somebody. I mean, you should be bubbling somebody right now anyway, just to try to keep your charge up. But you should be up here trying to take damage as well. So, let's see how long this goes for. Because right now you're losing all of your charge. There's Junkrat spam that you could be getting hit with. You bubble the Pharah. Pharah didn't take any damage, so that didn't do anything. So now they're all hiding back. I'd be telling Pharah, get in position. I'm looking for my ult. You looked for the ult. You didn't communicate it with anybody, though. Pharah, okay, so you have the unspoken bond with Pharah where it just happens to work, except you didn't get the Mercy. So the Mercy just negated 2 of your ults. But it doesn't matter because you guys are experts and you took them out again. So good job. Alright, your whole team's on fire from that. That was a good res by Mercy. Unfortunately, their team couldn't capitalize on it, and now everybody's dead. So that's basically a team wipe. That's like 2 team wipes almost. That's a good example of why Zarya's ult is so powerful. When you can combo it with certain heroes, it's a team wipe most of the time. Or if it's not a team wipe, it gives you a major up on a team battle. In that case, that was pretty much a team wipe. Now, that fight could have gone south, but you guys were able to take them out a second time. So now here we're just spamming basically another kind of a choke. You're doing a good job getting your ult. You're staying around that 45-50%ish area. Now that bubble there, the enemy team really bailed you out. Let's see if I can get it to show up here. Trying to... Okay, so you bubbled right there. Now I'm not really sure if that was just a habit or if you're seeing something I'm not, but again, this is a prime example of a lower tier game not knowing how to play against a Zarya. So you bubble Orisa, it looks like she's behind the shield, or maybe she's poking out of it just a little bit. She must be because your charge went up after bubbling her. A better, higher SR team wouldn't shoot Orisa when she's bubbled. And on top of that, the Orisa should be behind the shield, so I'm not really sure if she's just trying to help you out. But the enemy team really bailed you out on that one because all your squishies are standing on the other side of the shield. Like, these guys, both of these guys should be over here, and if anything, you should be over here, if anything. But you don't have your shield right now either, so you're okay where you're at. If you had your bubble, you should be where the squishies are. Like, you two should be swapping roles. Like, these two here should be here, you should be over there. But the enemy team seems to just really love shooting at your bubbles, so they're really charging you. Okay, now you have yours, so now you're going to try to bully the ulting soldier, which you did, which is good. Orisa's in trouble, but the Mercy saves you. Or not you, but your team. Pharah just ulted. I don't know why she chose to do that. She did get Mercy, but she died doing it. You're so close to your ult, you should have communicated that to them, and then the Pharah could have saved her ult for you. Because you basically have it now. And that was, what, maybe 30 seconds after? I mean, that would have been a team wipe, and you'd have had an easy push for the win. So right now, you have no follow-up right now. Well, you've got... No, that's Lucio. So you've got a Lucio, and I think that's about it. And you just ulted. Okay. Why did you ult there? Now, who you got in the ult looks to be Mercy, Reinhardt, and I don't know who the other one is. Soldier, I think? I think that's Soldier. ERX is... I think that's Soldier. So you got Mercy, Soldier, and Reinhardt. That's not a bad grab in terms of who you got, but who's going to do anything with that? And in the end, they're behind the payload, or considering where you're coming from, because you're coming from over here. The payload's right here. They're all behind the payload. This is... So unless you have a bunch of people behind you, or up here, or on the other side, back over this way, that's not going to do anything. So I'm going to say that this is a bad grab, but let's see if I'm right. Oh, there was a Bastion there that I didn't even see. I don't think you saw that either. So the Bastion took out the McCree, who tried to combo ult with you, but McCree's not a good ult. McCree's not a good hero to combo with a Zarya. Not to say it can't work, but it's not ideal. And Bastion took him out, and that was the only person that could have done anything for that Graviton. He shouldn't have ulted there. He should have just tried to pick off either the Mercy or the Soldier just left clicking. Now, here's the good news. You just ulted, right? You're already at 77%, and they've been charging you like I've never seen before. I've never seen anybody keep this kind of a charge in a game so consistent. I can't believe how much they're shooting at your bubble. That's insane to me. I mean, they're turning you into a DPS tank. You know, if the enemy team doesn't shoot your bubble, you're not doing any damage, and they're... Oh, you just showed me your stats. Let's go back and look at that. Oops. Okay. Stop right there. So you've got all the golds and you've got silver damage. That's insane. Like, this enemy team has turned you into a third DPS. And you've been on fire for the majority of the game. You know, and some of that comes to really good bubble placements. Other things are they're bailing you out a little bit too. It's a little bit of both. I'd probably give a little bit more credit to your bubbling, but they're bailing you too a little bit. Like, right there, a better team wouldn't have really shot at you too much. You wouldn't have gotten much charge off of that last bubble, if any. See, like right now that Bastion spamming you, you bubbled, you got a lot of charge off of that. Now you're just trying to right click them to do some damage, which is good. You got another ult already. Okay, let's go back a little bit, because there's one thing I didn't even pay attention to. Okay, so the Pharah switched off and they're Genji. This is what I wanted to look at. I forgot to look at this. So, you don't have a Pharah to combo with anymore, but Genji's a good combo too. And he has his ult. So by looking at that, you should have been like, hey, I'm close to my ult again, let's combo ults. You guys did it before. I think I was here. Okay, yeah. So you got your ult. The Genji should be ulting with you. Now, when you ult, let's see. Okay, so you ulted, you didn't communicate it. Is Genji going to follow up? Nope. Genji and you don't have that unspoken bond. And nothing died from that ult. Absolutely nothing died from that ult. It looks like McCree's trying his hardest here just to combo with you, and it's not working. It's not working at all. And again, he shouldn't be the one comboing with you anyway. It should have been the Genji. If you communicate that, it wouldn't have been a team wipe because you didn't have the Ana to nano blade it, but you would have at least gotten some kills out of it. That's 2 ults in a row with nothing. And look at it, you have another one already. That's insane. So, alright, you just ulted again, and I think you got the whole team in that one. And look, all you got was 1 kill, and it was a Zenyatta. That's not a good trade-off. A Zarya ult for a Zenyatta, that's not good. So, we have 3 Zarya ults, and all we have to show for it is 1 Zenyatta kill. If you communicate with your team, or at least try to, because I know sometimes teammates just, I don't know, they're deaf and they don't communicate, or they get stupid while playing Overwatch and they don't do what they're supposed to do. I understand that. But you got to give them the chance to do something with your ults. I mean, Zarya's ult is one of the most powerful ones in the game if used properly. The problem is you got to use it properly. You're getting good targets with your ults for the most part, but there's nothing to follow up with it. So you're turning one of the most powerful ults in the game to one of the weakest. And it's all because of the poor follow-up. And if you work with your team on that, that won't be a problem. Or it shouldn't be. It especially won't be once you get into the higher up SRs. Because you're a good player. You're better than your SR is indicating. Your tracking, we haven't gotten a lot of good examples of your tracking. You're kind of actually letting go of your targets a little bit when on your tracking. Alright, good job getting away from the D.Va ult. It seems like you know when to right and left click for Zarya from what I can tell. The only thing that I would really nitpick on is your left clicking and you're getting off of people a little too quickly. Try to stay on them a little bit more, especially when your charge is so high. Because, I mean, look at this. You have another ult already. What is this, your 5th ult? That should be it. That should be GG right there, I think. Oh, nope, you didn't get Mercy. Nobody's on... Your team has a... Wow. You lost Mercy, now Junkrat's on it. Mercy's still alive? Why is Mercy still alive? Okay, Orisa got her. And now all the team's back from the spawn. Oh my goodness. Your team is really awful at killing Mercy. Like, this is one of the worst. This is actually a really good example of why ignoring Mercy is such a bad thing. And you're a little to blame on this too, but I mean, my goodness, your team just can't seem to kill Mercy. Alright, at this point it's whatever you get an ult, pop it at this point for everybody. Except for maybe a Mercy, but anything else, it's time to just start using ults as you get them. You're right clicking on the squishies, which is good. D.Va got away. There's a couple people on the cart. You probably could have followed that D.Va because you don't want her getting back in that mech. You have another ult again. Ooh. Pause. Okay. I'm gonna stop it right here. If you can get your ult somewhere around here, try to see if you can get any of them to just fall off the cliff. Or if you ult right there and they don't fall off of the cliff, or even, you know, anywhere along here really. Let me clear this off. Anywhere along here in this particular case would have been great, because then they're not contesting the payload and you get an easy push. You don't even have to have follow. In a case like this, there's no follow-up needed. If you can just keep them off of the point, you're either gonna push it the whole way, or anybody you don't get is gonna be hiding over here, which makes them an easier target, because now you've just halved this whole point. This whole point just becomes halved. They can't go over there because they're going to get sucked into the graviton, and then they can't contest. So then it should be easy pickings for whoever goes over there. That's what I would have done at this case. And I would have been looking for that too, because I would have been noticing that my ult was building up pretty fast. And in the rate you've been getting ults, you should have been picking that up too. So by putting it over... Basically, you put it right on the point. You did them a favor. You just put the whole defending team on the point to contest it. Now you're dead. There's nobody really there. Oh, Mercy got back and rezzed you, and you're the only one on the point with the Mercy. Okay. Okay, now a couple more of your teammates are back. This is not looking good at this point. See, part of the problem right now is you're not really focusing on anything. You're just kind of spamming at whatever just kind of jumps in front of you. So you're just doing the healers favors. You know, now Zenyatta's ulting, so you can't really do anything anymore anyway. But nothing on the enemy team is dying right now. And you had full charge, so what you should have been doing is poking away at the Zenyatta, poking away at the Mercy. You need to find a squishy, get them in your line of sight, and kill it. You were just kind of shooting at whatever. You're just kind of poking at people. And the healers are able to heal that. So nothing was really dying at the end. So a lot of poor ult usage. I mean, the sheer amount of ults you had was insane to me. And that was a really good job. But the execution of the ults was really, really poor. That was a game you should have easily won at least 2 or 3 times over. And you would have had you have coordinated your Zarya ult. In my opinion, you were a big reason for not getting that 3rd point. For as good of a player as you are, that's a big mistake for a Zarya. You were doing really well in every other area of a Zarya. But throwing on ults kind of negates all that, doesn't it? And that was a prime example of it. Okay, you just showed me the team comp. Alright, ooh, I jumped right to it. Alright, so, alright, let's forget about the Zarya ults, because you still got it pretty far. And this is a very winnable game, especially from the kind of play and organization that we saw from the enemy team. I'm thinking you're going to win this game. I don't know if you are, but I'm thinking you're going to. So let's look at what we got here. So we've got triple support. That's okay. I'm a big Symmetra player just when I'm playing. So when I play Symmetra, I like a solo Mercy heal for myself, and I'm talking mid to upper diamond level games, and I have a Smurf account that's in golds, and I'll encourage that in those too. And you usually get away with that. In a platinum game, I think you could pull that off and have the Zen switch, and I would encourage the Zen to switch to something that would combo with your ult. Now, you haven't been coordinating your ult, so I don't know if it's really going to matter or not. You only, out of like, what was it, 5 or 6 Zarya ults, you only had one where there was any follow-up, and you had almost a team wipe, but then the Mercy rezzed everybody. So you saw what it's capable of doing. Aside from this, your only real follow-up is Reaper, and it can work, but it's not ideal, and especially on King's Row, it's very not ideal. There's not a lot of good places for a Reaper to hide it to try to combo with you. There are some if he takes the high ground. We're talking on the first point, mind you. As the map goes on, there can be better spots, depends where we're talking about, but let's just focus on the first point for now. If the map progresses, we'll go into those later. So really, you only have a Reaper to combo with. Symmetra, if she can get some charged photons into there, she'll do a lot of damage, maybe pick off a squishy or two, but generally speaking, this isn't a good team comp for a Zarya. And that's assuming nobody switches. Oh, the Reaper switched to Soldier. That's even worse for you on an ulting situation. For just the overall team, it's better, but for you, that's worse. Better to have the hit scan if they have a Pharah. Soldier probably is going to do more damage than a Reaper would in this kind of a situation too. But at least the Reaper combos with your ult. So let's see what we get here. Alright, we got 19 seconds. Let's skip ahead a little. Okay, so you're spamming the sniper nest and you missed on both shots. So and you took 2 or 3 more and you missed all of those too. So that's not necessarily a bad thing to do, but make sure you're practice getting those right clicks to where they should be landing, because none of those landed. Right now, you did a really bad job of getting any kind of an ult charge. It's almost like you forgot that you have a bubble. There you go. Okay, that was good. That was real good. Okay, and that one was real good too. The only thing is you maybe could have had 2 spurts of your personal bubble used by that time. Good use of your second round of bubbles. You stepped into a trap, and you died. Your reaction time to that trap wasn't very good. I noticed that being planted. I would have backed up. Okay, there's still, for some stupid reason, running a Junkrat. You should be able to to get a lot of charge off of him. You were in the first round. I'm assuming you're going to do more of the same. That's really bad play by the enemy team running a Junkrat here. Okay, so this is a pretty even fight right now. It wasn't the greatest ult by the Roadhog. Okay. Oh, perfect example. All right. So, okay, a couple seconds ago, you were left clicking into the Junkrat, which is what you should be doing. Any kind of a squishy you can bully, especially when your charge is 40% or above. That means you're starting to do some legitimate damage as a Zarya. Obviously, higher the better. And that's what you were doing. He started to break off a little bit, and you noticed, I think this is a healer over here, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say that's an Anna. And you immediately right-click so that you could splash damage both of them. That's exactly what you should be doing. Splash damage a clumped up group of squishy players. Left click when they're solo. And you can melt, bully, like a McCree, a soldier, a Junkrat. If your charge is above 40%, May, Reaper, even tanks to some degree. It depends what tanks we're talking about. A diva is a tank you should always be kind of in the face of. You're kind of a hard counter to diva because she can't block you if you're left clicking. When you start getting to the Reinhardts and the Roadhogs, then maybe it gets situational, and Orisa gets really situational. But this is a good example of what you're doing right here. That's good Zarya play. And the Mercy just rezzed. So if he kind of falls back and goes around to these guys, or even back around this way, this would be a really good time to right click. Let's see what happens. Okay, so you ult instead. You didn't coordinate that with anybody. Let's go back a few seconds here. Okay, so so you got a soldier and a Roadhog in your Graviton, which is okay. You don't have to get the whole team in your Graviton. So right now your charge is at 58, which is good, and you're left clicking on the, I think this is the 76 from what I can tell, which is what you should be doing, because I don't know what kind of a follow-up you have here. I don't think you have a lot. Could be wrong, but I don't think you do. So the only thing that's really going to die here is the soldier. However, you get off of him and you go onto the Roadhog, which is a mistake. That's poor. That's not what you should be doing, because you're not going to do anything to the Roadhog. I mean, you're going to hurt him a little, but you could at least get a kill out of this. And you have a Riptire coming, so you don't have a lot of time to kill anything before you're going to either have to run or bubble yourself and try to see if you can bait that Riptire. This is gonna test your multitasking. And yeah, you didn't. Oh, okay. So all right. So Reinhardt bailed you out and finished off the 76. Now we have a Mercy beam over here, so we didn't get the Mercy in that. That's not good. If you Graviton and there's a Mercy in the vicinity, you should be getting the Mercy in the Graviton, or it's not that great of a Graviton. And we saw why on, was it your first Graviton, I believe it was, the first round, because she rezzed everybody. Now we know she just rezzed, so she doesn't have it, so that's okay here. But for future, for future recommendation, kind of keep an eye out for that. So okay, the Roadhog dies, but the Mercy got away. That's not good. You got to make that Mercy pay when she's all by herself or just solo healing somebody and has nobody else around. Okay, so now Junkrat's trying to solo cap. He's in trouble. Make him pay. Kill him. Oh, you backed off to kill the trap. Now this Junkrat has a suicide. Okay, alright. So there's a few mistakes here. Let's point them out here. Let's go back just a little bit. Okay, so alright, you've got a pretty good charge going. Remember what I said earlier, if it's 40 or above, you can bully squishies like a Junkrat. You abandon the Junkrat to kill a trap, you probably could have just got around the trap without even having to worry about it by just jumping up around here and going in. I think you probably could have done that. Or you just go in through the other door and start bullying him, and then he'll come back out here to try to utilize his trap, and then the rest of your team is right here, and they can just finish him up. That's what you should have done. Instead, you focus on the trap. That's a mistake. You shouldn't do that. So you kill the trap. The Junkrat should have just retreated at that point. He starts to try to shoot at you. You should be... So you kill him. You don't get any ult charge on his dropped grenades, which you probably could have done. But at least he's dead. So at this point you're chasing an Ana and a 76. Now right now you don't have any charge. Now, okay, now you got up to 20. You still can't bully anybody, so it's good that you pulled out because you weren't going to be able to finish them off. You should be calling out that 76 and Ana are up top left, just so your team can kind of pay attention to that. I think your Reinhardt kind of knows, but he's kind of stuck in a bad position right now. Okay, your Zenyatta, he knows, but he's not going to be able to do anything. Okay, good job staying out of the Diva ult. Trying to poke away at the Ana, who's getting healed by the Mercy. So really, all that's doing is feeding a Mercy ult right now. Really good job getting your charge back. I don't know what that Roadhog's trying to do. Zenyatta covered that mistake up, I guess. Alright. So that ult only got Soldier. If you waited a little bit, yep, see, there it is. You know Mercy, alright. So you know Mercy was up top there by herself because she was healing the Soldier who I think he dropped down for some bad reason. That's poor positioning on the 76's part. You didn't need to ult there because one, your charge is really high and you could have just bullied him by just killing him, just melting him with your beam. And then that puts the Mercy at an awkward position because now she's out of play. She's overextended. She's got two choices. She can either stay up there and wait for her team to come back and either make you guys try to climb up there to get her, or she can wait, or she can drop down and get killed, or she'll fly in and res now that her team, because her team's starting to come back, so she's got an escape route. What I would have done is waited for the Mercy to use her escape route and then ult, because then you're going to have the Mercy in it and you're going to get more than just a Soldier out of it. So that ult really didn't accomplish much of anything. Yeah, you could have gotten a 3-person ult right there. It would have had both healers. It would have had the Ana, the Mercy, and the Soldier. The Soldier you would have killed. You would have killed him twice in a row. Now you've got Nano Visor. Okay, your Mercy just bailed you out. Your right clicks are on point. Your tracking could use a little bit of work. It's not terrible, but it could be a little bit better. And then an ult just to make sure they don't get through the point. Okay, so that was a relatively easy defense. They only really threatened you guys once to truly take the point, and your Mercy bailed you guys out. So honestly, the biggest mistake out of everything that I saw here was your Zarya ulting. You have to coordinate that a lot more. Almost every Zarya ult didn't really amount to anything except for your very first one, and that one ended up being negated by the Mercy. There wasn't a whole lot you could do about that either, without maybe trying to take the high ground and seeing if you could get Mercy in it and just holding it a little longer. But the one thing that I'm glad I didn't see out of you was that you didn't hold on to your ult forever. You were actually the opposite of that problem. A lot of Zaryas I encounter, and a couple of my friends will complain to me about with Zarya, is that Zaryas get their ults and then they never use it, and they wait for like these big, massive, get the whole team in there and get the team wipe, which in some cases is what you should do. In your case, the second you got it, you used it, and you didn't have any kind of a follow-up to it. And that part is not good, because that turns one of the most powerful ults in the game into one of the weakest ults in the game. So if you work with your team, if you use voice comms, if you look at what your other team has for ults, that's one of the two things that should dictate when a Zarya ults, because obviously you don't want to ult into like a diva mech that could eat it. You don't want to ult when you're only going to get one or two people, unless and those one or two people, it can kind of depend who they are. You know, if you manage to take out both healers, that's a pretty big deal, because you're going to win the team fight, or you should anyway, if you manage to take out both healers with your graviton. And you had chances to do that on defense. Now, like I said, your Mercy bailed you out on defense. I think if your Mercy didn't get that res at the end, they would have took the first point. And then after that, you know, who knows. For people watching that want to know how to play against Zarya, this was a really good example of why you shouldn't shoot at bubbles. This guy had so much charge. He ulted more on attack than I think I've ever personally seen a Zarya do before. I don't think I've ever seen a Zarya ult, I think it was 5 times on attack. I guess I'd have to go back and count again. I'm not sure, but it was like 5 or 6, and that's insane to me. And if you coordinated your ults, you wouldn't have had that many to begin with. You wouldn't have needed that many. But for him he had so much charge, he was just able to ult so frequently. I'm really impressed by that, but it's a really good example of why not to shoot the Zarya bubble. There are times when it's okay to shoot the bubble, but I didn't see any times to really point that out in this game, so I just want to bring it up real quickly. If you are finding yourself up against a Zarya and you're either a tank or a DPS, or maybe you're an off healer, the only time I ever find it okay to shoot a Zarya bubble is when Zarya's by herself and you've got a team of 2 or 3 of you against just the Zarya, and she shouldn't have much of a charge at the beginning of the fight. If she's already high charge and then she also bubbles on top of that, then you're making it a lot more of an even fight. Now, granted, it kind of depends what heroes we're talking about, but if she's low charge and she's by herself and you've got a numbers game on her and then she pops a bubble, it's okay to pop it, because I think that thing blocks, I want to say like 350 or 400 damage. So it's not the hardest thing to pop. So you'll bring her charge up to 40, I believe. 20 or 40, I can't remember now. I want to say 40 though. If she's 40, still by herself and being double or triple teamed or however much more than, you know, double or above, that's still a fight you can win. Anything else, not a good idea. Or if she's really low health and there's no healers present, that would be another good example. But this team that our submitter was up against, they fed that Zarya so much, and you got a really good example of why not to do that. Because 5 Zarya ults should have been like, that's like Donald Trump on the nuclear bomb button, just ready to blow up the world. 5 Zarya ults, that should have been a team wipe at least 3 times over, and you didn't even truly get one because of the Mercy res. So that would be the biggest thing, and really the only thing I'm really going to focus on for you to truly improve upon. If I want to get a little nitpicky, I would say focus a little bit more on your tracking and getting a little bit better on that. Target priority. You do need to work on your target priority a bit. When you know when to left and right click, so I'm not going to talk about that, but when you have the chance to really melt a squishy player, do it. When your charge is over 40 or above, Look for opportunities to left click on a squishy and just track them, and you'll melt them. Or a diva. Diva's the only tank Zarya should heavily focus on. Any other tank, do it when the opportunity arises, but don't focus it too much. Other than that, you're a good Zarya player. But as you get higher up, you won't get that kind of a charge going as frequently as you did in this game. So enjoy it while you can. But this has been another episode of the Overwatch Coach. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll try to get another one out in a day or two. Thanks for watching, guys.